Hello, dear learners. Welcome to Exploring an Understanding of How Research Supports Yoga for Mental Health. Let's set forth on a journey of exploration, gently weaving the threads of research into the fabric of our own knowledge and skills. So, whether you're a therapist, a teacher, or simply a seeker of knowledge, I invite you to embrace these moments with a sense of gentle curiosity and openness. I'm your host, Judy Thompson, and in today's segment, we will be exploring the research publication, a roadmap to understanding interoceptive awareness and post-traumatic stress disorder, a scoping review, published May 2024 in the journal Frontiers in Psychiatry, authored by Kelly Leach, Peta Stapleton, and Alan Patching. In this episode, we'll discuss the main findings and implications of this comprehensive scoping review. We'll begin with an overview of interoceptive awareness, a concept over a century old that has recently gained much clinical and research attention. Interoceptive awareness is the ability to sense internal bodily changes, which is crucial for understanding our physical and emotional states. The research paper we're examining pulls together a selection of literature to explore how interoceptive awareness is defined, measured, and interconnected with post-traumatic stress disorder, commonly known as PTSD. By systematically reviewing over 200 initially screened articles and focusing on 43 detailed studies, the authors aim to map out the existing knowledge landscape and identify gaps for future research. We'll explore several key questions addressed by the review, including: how is interoceptive awareness defined and measured? What role does it play in emotion regulation? And crucially, what is the relationship between interoceptive awareness and PTSD? The paper suggests that interoceptive awareness is not just about being aware of bodily signals, but also about understanding and appraising these signals in a way that can improve emotional regulation. And this has profound implications for individuals with PTSD who often experience heightened or impaired interoceptive awareness due to trauma. We'll explore how the findings point to the potential benefits of therapies that enhance interoceptive awareness for those suffering from PTSD. This includes somatic experiencing and mindfulness-based interventions, which might help trauma survivors better manage their physical and emotional responses. We'll look to understand how interoceptive awareness can be a key therapeutic target, especially through yoga, in promoting attention to internal bodily states. Interoceptive awareness is a foundational concept in the study of the mind-body connection, particularly relevant to understanding mental health issues like PTSD. But what exactly is interoceptive awareness, and why is it so crucial? To begin with, the term interoception was first introduced by an English physiologist, Charles Sherrington, in the early 1900s. In his collection of writings and lectures, Sherrington talks of interoceptors, interoceptive receptor fields, interoceptive reflex arcs, interoceptive surface, and interoceptive segments. He presents three main groups of sense organs: exteroceptive, such as those that detect light, sound, odor, and tactile stimuli; interoceptive, exemplified by taste receptors; and proprioceptive receptors that detect events inside the body. Sherrington proposed that individuals have the ability to receive sensory input internally from within their bodies, but it is in the 1940s that the word interoception first appears in scientific journals. Moving forward to recent times, interoceptive awareness has emerged as a focal point in both research and clinical psychology. Interoception is now defined more broadly as the process by which our bodies communicate physical states to our brains. This can be split into three stages: detecting bodily signals, becoming aware of these signals, and appraising them for personal meaning. Imagine you're running a race, and you become aware of your heartbeat and breathing rate. Interoception is what allows you to notice, become aware, and analyze these signals to make decisions, like whether to speed up or slow down. Interoception is essentially our sixth sense. It is how we perceive internal bodily signals like hunger, heartbeat, or sensations like butterflies in our stomach when we are nervous. But what is the role of interoception in mental health? Interoception doesn't just inform us about physical states, but is also critically linked to our emotional states. The act of becoming aware of and interpreting these internal signals plays a vital role in how we experience emotions and how we regulate them. This brings us to the concept of interoceptive awareness, essentially how aware we are of these internal bodily signals and how accurately we can identify them. One widely accepted model categorizes interoception into 3 dimensions: interoceptive accuracy, interoceptive sensibility, and interoceptive awareness. Interoceptive accuracy refers to the objective ability to detect internal bodily signals. Interoceptive sensibility describes our self-perceived ability to recognize these signals, and interoceptive awareness evaluates how well we understand and interpret these signals. Think of it as a sort of hierarchy. Interoceptive accuracy is like the raw data input, sensibility is our subjective reading of that data, and awareness is the quality check that tells us how well we're interpreting the data. How is interoceptive awareness measured? This research identifies 3 main methods: subjective self-report measures, objective tasks like heartbeat detection tasks, and neuroimaging. Subjective self-report measures often use questionnaires, such as the Multidimensional Assessment of Interoceptive Awareness, MAIA, which ask participants about their experiences and perceptions of bodily signals. These questionnaires are valuable, but depend heavily on an individual's self-perception, which can vary. Objective measures, like the heartbeat detection task, provide quantifiable data. In this task, individuals count their heartbeats over a period without checking their pulse, and the accuracy of their count is compared to their actual heartbeat, offering an objective measure of interoceptive accuracy. Neuroimaging studies let researchers observe brain activity in regions linked to interoceptive processing, like the insula during various tasks. These studies give a more nuanced understanding of how interoceptive processes appear in brain activity, which can help in highlighting the potential neurobiological foundations of interoceptive awareness. One essential point that emerges from the scoping review is that interoceptive awareness encompasses more than just the raw detection of bodily signals. It also involves how we interpret these signals and integrate them into our overall sense of self and well-being. This brings in the importance of cognitive appraisal. This is the ability to evaluate the significance of internal sensations in a way that promotes adaptive emotional responses rather than maladaptive ones. Defining interoceptive awareness helps us better understand its complexity and importance, especially in PTSD. It is developed from a basic understanding of internal sensory input to a critical concept central to emotional regulation and psychological well-being. Disrupted interoceptive processes may lead to emotional dysregulation in various mental health conditions. Since we understand interoceptive awareness as our ability to sense internal bodily signals, ranging from basic feelings like hunger or heartbeats to complex emotional cues linked to our body states, we can understand how this internal perception helps us interpret and respond to our internal states. For individuals with PTSD, trauma disrupts this interoceptive ability. Bessel van der Kolk, a leading psychiatrist, clinician, and researcher, expresses that those with PTSD often struggle to regulate their internal bodily sensations. The lingering effects of trauma can heighten their perception of bodily sensations, thus overwhelming their interoceptive systems. This dysregulation can create a sort of cycle where individuals become either hyper-attuned to or disconnected from their bodily signals. This research paper provides a detailed overview of studies linking interoceptive awareness to PTSD. One key finding is that individuals with PTSD tend to have altered activations in brain areas responsible for interoception, like the anterior insula and the medial prefrontal cortex. Neuroimaging studies have shown both hypo and hyperactivation in these regions, suggesting complex disruptions in how these individuals process internal bodily cues. Hyperactivation of the anterior insula in individuals with PTSD might indicate a relentless, heightened awareness of internal states, but without the necessary mindful interpretation. This points towards a maladaptive ruminative focus, where bodily sensations become sources of anxiety rather than guides for restorative action. In contrast, hypoactivation, particularly in individuals experiencing dissociation, reveals a diminished capacity to perceive or interpret bodily sensations. This can leave individuals feeling detached from their physical presence, exacerbating the distressing symptoms of PTSD. Clinically, developing interoceptive awareness can enhance emotional regulation in those with PTSD. Treatments like somatic experiencing, sensoromotor psychotherapy, and mindfulness-based interventions work on this principle. These therapies aim to balance interoceptive processing by grounding patients in their bodily experiences and promoting a mindful appraisal of their internal states. This approach helps individuals tolerate and integrate their bodily sensations rather than being overwhelmed or disconnected from them. Research data supports these therapeutic interventions. For example, a study included in the research examined a 16-week yoga program for individuals with PTSD. Results showed significant reductions in PTSD symptoms and notable improvements in interoceptive awareness components, such as attention regulation, emotional awareness, and self-regulation. Findings like these suggest that practices targeting interoceptive capacities could effectively help decrease PTSD symptoms. Interventions focusing on basic body awareness training were reported to alleviate hyperarousal symptoms and improve connection with internal bodily sensations. This helped individuals with PTSD achieve a more regulated emotional state, highlighting the potential of interoceptive awareness practices. The research suggests that improving interoceptive awareness can be essential for emotional regulation in PTSD treatment. By tuning into internal bodily cues with a mindful approach, individuals can better regulate their physiological and emotional states. Understanding the link between interoceptive awareness and PTSD is a promising area in mental health research and mental health support. By understanding this connection and integrating interoceptive practices into therapy, more effective and integrative treatments can be offered to trauma survivors. More integrative approaches could lead to more holistic and effective therapies, helping to improve the quality of life for individuals with PTSD. Regulating emotions through interoceptive awareness involves sensing internal body signals that inform us about our physical and emotional states. This awareness helps us respond to our surroundings. To understand how interoceptive awareness works in emotion regulation, we need to see the link between physical sensations and emotional experiences. When we are aware of our internal signals, we can notice changes like a racing heart, butterflies in the stomach, or shallow breathing. These sensations often indicate emotional responses, and research supports that being aware of these signals helps people use better emotion regulation strategies. For example, noticing a rapid heartbeat as a sign of anxiety can lead someone to use coping methods like deep breathing or mindfulness to reduce stress. On the other hand, not being aware of these signals can make it hard to identify and manage emotions. A seminal theory that supports this connection is the somatic marker hypothesis proposed by neuroscientist Antonio Damasio. This hypothesis suggests that bodily signals act as somatic markers that guide decision-making and emotional responses. According to Damasio, when we experience these physiological markers, they are processed in the brain's prefrontal cortex and insular regions, where they are interpreted and inform our emotional state. This process underscores how interoception is intricately linked with emotion regulation. Numerous studies have backed this theory. For instance, research has shown that individuals with higher interoceptive accuracy, those better at perceiving their internal bodily signals, perform better in emotion regulation tasks. They are more adept at employing strategies like cognitive reappraisal, where they reinterpret a potentially distressing situation to alter its emotional impact. And this capacity for effective emotional management is valuable for mental health, as it reduces the intensity and frequency of negative emotional experiences. Moreover, interoceptive awareness has been shown to enable the downregulation of negative emotions. When individuals are aware of the physiological manifestations of their emotions, they can intervene early by using relaxation techniques, thereby preventing the escalation of negative emotional states. This process not only aids in immediate emotion regulation, but also contributes to long-term emotional resilience. The research also highlights a crucial difference between mindfulness-based interoceptive awareness and a heightened anxious focus on bodily sensations. Mindfulness, which involves a non-judgmental and present-focused awareness of bodily sensations, is associated with positive outcomes in emotion regulation. In contrast, a ruminative or anxious focus on bodily sensations can increase emotional distress. This distinction is important in clinical applications, as therapies aimed at improving interoceptive awareness need to cultivate a mindful style rather than an attentional style. Clinical interventions like mindful awareness through the body leverage this principle effectively by helping clients to pay careful attention to their bodily sensations in a non-judgmental manner. This fosters greater interoceptive awareness and consequently better emotion regulation. Studies have shown that such body-focused interventions can significantly improve outcomes for individuals with emotional disorders, highlighting the therapeutic potential of enhancing interoceptive skills. Research continues to support the notion that improving interoceptive awareness can have broad implications for mental health beyond emotion regulation. Individuals with better interoceptive skills are often more in tune with their needs and can engage in healthier behaviors, such as maintaining regular exercise, following a balanced diet, and ensuring adequate sleep. These behaviors, in turn, create a positive feedback loop that enhances overall well-being and emotional health. Interoceptive awareness serves a critical function in emotion regulation by enabling individuals to recognize and respond to their internal bodily signals. Through this awareness, people can utilize adaptive strategies to manage their emotional states, leading to better mental health outcomes. As we continue to explore the connections between interoception and emotional well-being, it becomes evident that fostering interoceptive awareness through mindful practices and therapeutic interventions holds significant promise for enhancing mental health and resilience. The research also supports yoga as another intervention that is effective in developing interoceptive awareness. Programs incorporating yoga and mindfulness practices have demonstrated significant reductions in PTSD symptoms. These therapies work by fostering acceptance and mindful attention to bodily sensations, which in turn improves emotional regulation. For instance, a 16-week yoga program cited in the study not only reduced PTSD symptoms, but also significantly enhanced components of interoceptive awareness, such as body listening and attention regulation. This relationship underscores the importance of incorporating mind-body practices into PTSD treatment plans. Research into interoceptive awareness calls for a deeper understanding into the neural mechanisms underpinning the relationship between interoceptive awareness and PTSD. While neuroimaging studies have pointed to altered activation in brain regions, such as the insula and prefrontal cortex, understanding how these changes translate to therapeutic responses will be vital. Research could expand to explore how variations in these neural correlates impact the efficacy of interoceptive-focused interventions. The paper also highlights the need for developing and implementing more robust and detailed self-report measures to assess interoceptive awareness. By doing so, clinicians can better identify and differentiate between adaptive and maladaptive interoceptive processes, thus tailoring individualized therapeutic strategies that might be more effective for different PTSD presentations. Recognizing interoceptive awareness as critical in PTSD treatment opens new therapies and enhances understanding of the mind-body connection. Body-oriented therapies can improve conventional PTSD treatments, with future research essential for refining these methods for wider use and better results. Let's revisit the key points from the research paper on interoceptive awareness and its relationship with post-traumatic stress disorder. This scoping review has highlighted the critical roles interoceptive awareness plays in both emotional and physical realms, particularly for individuals suffering from PTSD. First and foremost, interoceptive awareness refers to our ability to perceive and understand internal bodily sensations. This concept, which has been around since the early 20th century, has gained renewed interest as researchers explore its impact on mental health. The paper reveals that interoceptive awareness is crucial for emotional regulation. This ties in with how individuals recognize, interpret, and respond to their internal states, leading to better emotional management and decision-making capabilities. Specifically, for those with PTSD, interoceptive awareness is often compromised. The review outlined that individuals with PTSD typically experience heightened or diminished sensitivity to their internal bodily signals, making it difficult for them to gauge and manage their emotional responses effectively. This dysregulation can exacerbate PTSD symptoms, including anxiety, hyperarousal, or dissociation. One of the most striking findings from the research underscores the potential benefits of therapies centered around enhancing interoceptive awareness. Mindfulness practices, yoga, and body-oriented psychotherapy techniques, like somatic experiencing, can help trauma survivors reconnect with their bodies in a mindful, non-judgmental way. This can reduce the maladaptive cycles of ruminative thinking that often impact individuals with PTSD. Another critical takeaway is that future research should continue to explore not just the definitions and measurements of interoceptive awareness, but also the nuances of its functioning within the context of trauma. Understanding these mechanisms can help refine current therapeutic practices and develop new interventions that more effectively target the unique needs of individuals living with PTSD. This research paper provides an understanding of how interoceptive awareness acts as a bridge between the body and the mind. It emphasizes the importance of cultivating this awareness through practices like yoga, which have been shown to be beneficial for mental health. Thank you to the authors and publisher for all of the research within this important study, a roadmap to understanding interoceptive awareness and post-traumatic stress disorder, a scoping review. For those eager to continue exploring, or for anyone seeking more in-depth information, additional resources and supplementary materials can be accessed within the links provided in the episode description. As we end our time together, remember to embrace and witness the beauty of life and within shared experience. Be the thread that creates compassion and curiosity for others. Thank you for joining me on this journey in learning how research supports yoga and integrative practices for mental health and well-being. May you find and share beauty and peace on your journey toward wellness.